This is math lesson 1-8, multiplying decimals. Multiplying by a decimal. One thing you have to make sure you're really aware of is that multiplication can be shown in several ways. You're used to the x as the traditional multiplication symbol, as shown here. But the dot, a bigger dot than a decimal that's in the middle, can be a multiplication symbol. Parentheses can be a multiplication symbol. Sometimes you will even see an asterisk as a multiplication symbol. All of these things mean to imply multiplication. Okay, so don't be surprised if you see different ways of showing multiplication. Let's take a look at some multiplication. We're going to find each product. If I'm going to multiply 6 times 0.13, so we're going to multiply 6 by something less than half. Okay, because 0.13 is less than 0.5. 0.5 would be half, so half of 6 would be 3, so our answer better be smaller than 3. Okay, our answer should be very small because we're looking at something that's only slightly a tenth larger. Now, there's many ways of multiplying. Okay, the one thing that you have to remember when multiplying decimals is you do not need to line up the decimal points. Okay, in fact, don't line up the decimal points because it will probably confuse you. Do not line up decimal points, because then you're going to end up with a lot of extra zeros you do not need. This is important. Now I'm going to show you two ways of multiplying. The traditional method and a method called lattice. Lattice multiplication is a very easy way of multiplying for those students who don't like traditional multiplication. If I have 6 times 0.13, I have a tendency when I multiply my numbers is to multiply the number that has the most digits is going to be on the top, and the number that has the least number of digits is going to be on the bottom. It doesn't matter which number is bigger, it matters how many digits the number has. So in this particular case, 0.13 has more digits than 6. So I'm going to multiply traditionally this way. Then I'm just going to multiply. 6 times 3, multiply the ones position. 6 times 3 is 18, carrying my 1. 6 times 1, I'm going to multiply my ones times my tens position. 6 times 1 is 6, plus 1 is 7. Now I have to take care of where my decimal point goes. You don't bring it straight down. In this particular problem, if you brought it straight down, it would be in the right place, but that's not always the case. You have to count how many places after the decimal point. I have 2 digits after the decimal point here. I have 0 digits after the decimal point there, for a total of 2, so I need 2 digits after the decimal point. I have to have 2 digits after my decimal point, and that means my decimal point would have to come in front of the 7. I'm going to annex a 0 there because I like it, and there you go. A second method of multiplying is called lattice multiplication. I'm going to multiply this problem the same way. I'm going to use lattice. Okay? Using lattice multiplication, you simply draw what's called a lattice. And it starts out by in this case, 13 times 6. I have 2 numbers this way, 1 number this way, so it looks like this. 2 boxes across by 1 box down. Okay? Then you draw diagonals through each one of your boxes. Now you simply multiply. 6 times 3 is 18, so I write the 1 here and the 8 there. 6 times 1 is 6, so I have a 0 in this position and a 6 in this position. Now I add along the diagonals. This is 8, 6 and 1 is 7, this is 0. Again, this was 0.13, so I have 2 digits after my decimal point. I need to have 2 digits after my decimal point here. This would be my answer reading across this way, but I put my decimal point here, so my answer is 0.78. If you're not familiar with lattice multiplication and you don't want to do lattice multiplication, you don't have to. It's just a secondary way of multiplying. I'll do it periodically throughout the year because some students have learned how to multiply this way and some students have not. I'll do a more complicated problem with lattice a little later. Let's look at number 2. 4.37 times 5. So 4.37 multiplied by 5. Notice I did not line up my decimal points because 5 would be 5.00. I would end up with a lot of extra digits I really don't need. Multiply like normal. 7 times 5 is 35. I'm going to carry my 3. 5 times 3 is 15, plus 3 is 18, carry my 1. 5 times 4 is 20, plus 1 is 21. I have 2 digits after the decimal point here, 0 digits after the decimal point, so I need 2 digits after my decimal point, which means my decimal point needs to come between my 1 and my 8, because that means there'll be 2 digits after my decimal point. So I have 21.85, that's my final answer. I'll box or circle it. Notice it's neat, it's tidy, easy to read. Let's do another problem. Here we have 0.3 times 0.2. 0.3 times 0.2. 3 times 2 is 6. I don't need to multiply by anything else. I have 1 digit after the decimal point in the 0.3. I have 1 digit after the decimal point in the 0.2. I need 2 digits after my decimal point. I don't have 2 digits here. I have a 6. So in order to get 2 digits, I have to annex a 0 here. So I have 0.06. So the answer to this problem is 0.06. I have to have 2 digits after my decimal point. Number 4, 1.9 times 5.32. This one's slightly more complicated, so I'm going to do this one by lattice and by regular. I'm going to erase this since I need the space. So if I do 5.32 here and 1.9 here, this is 3 boxes this way, this is 2 boxes this way. 3 digits this way, 2 digits that way. There's my lattice. I just need to draw my diagonals. Diagonal here, diagonal through both of those boxes, a diagonal through both of these boxes, a diagonal through this box. Notice you go extend past your boxes. 1 times 2 is 2. 1 times 3 is 3. 1 times 5 is 5. 9 times 2 is 18. 9 times 3 is 27. 9 times 5 is 45. Add along my diagonals. 8. 7 plus 1 is 8, plus 2 is 10, carry my 1. 5 plus 2 is 7, plus 3 is 10, plus 1 is 11, carry my 1 again. 5 and 4 is 9, plus 1 is 10, carry my 1 again, this is a 1. So my answer is 10108, but I've got to figure out where to put my decimal point. I have 2 digits after the decimal point here, 1 digit after the decimal point here, so I need a total of 3 digits after my decimal point. So I have to have 3 digits after my decimal point, so it has to come between my 0 and my 1 right there. So 10.108. And another way of thinking of it is, here's my decimal point here, here's my decimal point here. If I was to draw a line down here and across here, where these 2 lines meet is right here, there's where my decimal point should be, 10.108. It's a little nifty way of multiplying. Last but not least, let's multiply 0.9 times 0.14. 0.14 has more digits, so I'm going to put it on top. 0.9 has less digits, so I'm going to put it on the bottom. 9 times 4 is 36, carry my 3. 9 times 1 is 9, plus 3 is 12, carry my 1. 1 plus 9 times 0 is 0, plus 1 is 1. I'm done. This has 2 digits after the decimal point, this has 1, so I need a total of 3. So 1, 2, 3, my decimal point needs to come in front of my 1, so 0.126. Hopefully this is a review to you and not completely new. Hopefully you've done multiplying of decimals prior to reaching this class. If you're struggling with this, please see me in class and I will go over some of this stuff with you some more. Let's work on a word problem. 1 pound of tomatoes cost $1.29. To the nearest cent, how much do 2.75 pounds of tomatoes cost? Okay. If I'm paying $1.29 a pound and I want to buy 2 3/4 pounds, that's what 2.75 is, I need to multiply those 2 together. Okay, so I'm going to take 1.29 and I'll multiply that by 2.75. This is a more complicated multiplication than we've done so far. Make sure you keep everything lined up and neat and tidy, otherwise it can get really messy and you'll make mistakes. 1's digits. 5 times 9 is 45, carry my 4. Now I'm going to multiply my 5 by my 10's digits. 5 times 2 is 10, plus 4 is 14, carry that 1. Multiply by my 100's digits. 5 times 1 is 5, plus 1 is 6. I'm finished with that. I like to put an X, some people like to put a 0. I've now multiplied everything from my 5, which would be my 1's position if I was in whole numbers. Now I'm going to do my middle position, my 7. 7 times 9 is 63, carry my 6. 7 times 2 is 14, plus 6 is 20, carry my 2. 7 times 1 is 7, plus 2 is 9. I'm now done with the first place value and the second place value. That's why I like to put x's. I don't like to put zeros because I get lost between what was ended in a 0 and what was a 0. Now I'm going to multiply my 2 times everything. 2 times 9 is 18, carry my 1. 2 times 2 is 4, plus 1 is 5. 2 times 1 is 2. Notice I don't erase any of my carrying. As long as I'm paying attention to what I'm doing, I will know which one I'm supposed to use. Now let's add. 5 plus x and x is 5. 4 plus 3 is 7. 8 and 6 is 14, carrying my 1. 9 and 1 is 10, plus 5 is 15, carrying my 1, and this is 3. Now, where does the decimal point go? I have 2 digits after the decimal point here, 2 digits after the decimal point. That makes 4 total digits after my decimal point, which means my decimal point needs to come between my 3 and my 5. Now, this would be a good answer if it was just asking me to multiply 1.29 times 2.75. However, it is asking me to take $1.29 times 2.75 pounds. I can't give the cashier 5,475 10,000ths because we only go to cents, we only go to hundreds. So I have to round. So I have to round to the nearest cent, which is the 4. If I look to the right of the 4, I have a 7, which means this would round to $3.55. Always make sure you answer the question that was asked. This 3.5475 is the correct answer to 129 times 2.75. However, it is not the answer to the question. So the answer to the question was, how much do 2.75 pounds of tomatoes cost? They will cost $3.55. Make sure you give me a complete sentence. Make sure you label everything. Last problem. Cameron can read 196 words in 1 minute. Robert reads 1.6 times as fast. How many words can Robert read in a minute? So Cameron's speed times 1.6 equals Robert's speed, because Robert is faster. Okay, so Cameron's speed is 196. Times 1.96 will give us what Robert's speed is. So I need to take 196 and multiply it by 1.6, not 1.96. I'm so silly. 1.6, there we go. So 196 times 1.6 gives me Robert's speed. So I'm going to multiply these out. I'm going to rewrite this vertically because it's so much easier to do. 99% of the time I do traditional multiplication, not lattice. I do lattice once in a while. I'm faster this way. This way I learned. 6 times 6 is 36, carried by 3. 6 times 9 is 54, plus 3 is 57. 6 times 1 is 6, plus 5 is 11. I'm done with the 1's place. Or in this case, the 10's place. We're multiplying by the 1 and the 196. Now I'm going to multiply by the 1. 1 times 6 is 6, 1 times 9 is 9, 1 times 1 is 1. 6 plus nothing is 6. 6 and 7 is 13, carry my 1. 9 and 1 is 10, plus 1 is 11, carry my 1. 1 plus 1 plus 1 is 3. Decimal point, 0 here, 1 here, so I need 1 here. So 313.6. So Robert can read 313.6 words a minute. That's really fast. Robert reads very, very quickly. And of course, since it's a word problem, we write it in a complete sentence, making sure we label it.